10th of October, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Morning.
Hey. Hey, that's Hashem. We're ready to go forward. So let's see, we finished this story with the Brisa. And now we're up to Hare Elu Shalom Mipnei Shabaylim. See, that is
Not true.
caption in the Gemara. Welcome back, everybody. We're on Kufya Daled 114a, and we are we're holding by the caption. Re'el Shalom Mipnei Shabaylim B'chulei.
We're 114A3, 114A3 on the left. The Mishnah stated, right on the top.
Okay, so this here's where I think the Gemara is going to ask the question that Rashi previewed for us. Because the Mishnah says, Hare Elu Shelo Mipnei Shabaylim Misyaishi. Man. We say it belongs to Jew number 2 because Jew number 1, the original owner, was Miyayish. Do we know that he was Miyayish? No. But we say that he was. Okay, so here we go to Amar Rashi. So, Alan, would you like to read?
I mean, where we are right now. Which Gemara?
So 114A3.
Bava Kama.
Comma?
Okay.
Come on.
114. 14.
14A3?
114.
Right.
Upper left. Third paragraph.
114A1 or what?
A3.
A3. Okay. Upper left, the Mishnah stated?
Yeah.
Okay. The Mishnah stated, Hare, a low, Shalo, Mipnei, Shahaba, or Layim, Bo. If custom collectors gave him a donkey, or if a bandit gave him a garment, they are his because their owners, etc., may be assumed to have despaired of retrieving them. The Gemara qualifies this ruling. Omrei Rav Ishay, Rav Ishay said, "Hello, shalom, Eloah, Lita, team, Oved, kosher vivim." They taught that we assume a victim of a bandit has despaired of retrieving his property only when the bandit was an idolater. Aval Lisa T Yim Usha Roel Lo But if the bandit was a Jew, we do not assume that the owner has despaired. Sovar le mocher lika no lay because he thinks tomorrow I will take the bandit to court. The Gemora rejects this. Misa Keith Law Rav Yosef objected to it. On Rabor meet to the contrary, logic dictates the opposite. Vim low. In the case of idolaters who impose the law of force, the owner does not despair of retrieving his stolen property. Yisrael Bidor Amaray Mayim Maya Yesh. But in the case of Jews, since they merely talk, he does despair.
Oh, okay. So we have Machlokes over here, which is the case that that Jew number one is going to despair. Is he going to despair when a non-Jewish bandit steals it, or is he going to despair when a Jewish bandit steals it from him? Do you have any Rashi over here? Amre Meimar.
I'm just trying to say the Omri Mema. That's the end part. That they'll say that.
Oh, the one before that, actually.
The Giyut, I don't know what the Giyut is.
That was describing the Kachavim, the Daine Begiyuse. We have a little bit different gears in our Gemora. Rashi has this gear so that you see over here.
It says Begise.
Yeah, our Gemora says Begiyuse, yeah.
The U'ud v'Simro, that's like with a strong hand.
The Gava, Ubizroya. They rule with Gava, with arrogance, and with strong armed, the strong arm of the law, right?
Yeah.
So according to that, Rabbi Yosef is saying, on the contrary, if it was stolen from a non-Jewish bandit, then that case, because the judges of the non-Jewish courts, they're tough, and they're gonna, and I guess they're gonna have the koach to be able to do more than just talk and say, please give it back. They're gonna go and get it and take it, and so he doesn't give up over there. Whereas in the case of Yisrael, the judges of the Yisrael, Gemora says, Amre Meimar, they talk and talk. What does that mean? They talk and talk. Rashi.
I mean, that they talk. That sort of started the Omri. That was right after that. Lo, say, v'tein lo, go and take it. The ain tov tam Overtime.
Yeah, like chabotas with the arava.
Okay, but you beat it. Don't beat.
They don't beat him up.
They don't beat him with sticks.
No.
Lashon, the language, achar, the amre, the Lashon, the small print, achar, after the amre, they say, the nigzol, the person who's robbed from, me yama, who says, kind of like you say, haba, the witnesses are going to come, shekan vilmim, that stole it from you.
Okay. What?
I guess he doesn't think he's going to have proof. People can come and defend him. He's going to lose in court, so he's not going to bother.
It's already the person went to the Bezdin, the Nigzal, the stolen party went to the Nigzal. So the Nigzal went to the Bezdin, the stolen party went to the Bezdin. And he said, there was this person, this Jew stole my thing. And they say, who says me, Amar? Havadim, bring us witnesses that he stole it from you. So that's the type of response that the Jew is going to get when he goes to a Jewish court. That's the lashon acher. That's the second lashon, and the first lashon is that say b'telo. What are they busy talking about? All they do is say to the Ganav, the Gazlan, go and give it back to him. Go and give it back. The court orders you to give it back. And the guys, but Rashi says they don't beat him up. They don't beat him up. It's interesting because we say in the Gemora that Kofin al mitzvahs essay. The Bezdin has the authority, and presumably if they have the authority, they carry it out. Necessary. If somebody's refusing to perform a positive mitzvah, they force him. What does it mean? They force him. They beat him up until he says he's going to do it. Until he does it. But over here, it's interesting what Rashi said, because I would have thought to say that there is a mitzvah that this Gazlan has. The Torah says, give it back. So even there certainly is the Torah is commanding him to give it back. So I'm not sure why they don't have the authority to beat him up in order to give it to force him to give it back. But in any case, that's what Rashi says over here. Whereas the court of the Goyim, they go and just take it from the guy, and if he makes trouble, they who knows what they do to him. So it's the other way around, says Rabbi Yosef. It's the other way around. So now we go forward in the Gemora, and we start with the Gemora. And we say, Ella, rather, how are we going to resolve this what the Mishnah says, that Hare Elu Shalom Mipnei Shabaylim Misyashin. You see where we are? Ella Itmar. Aseifa Itmar.
114A3, last paragraph on the left-hand column.
Okay. Who you want to read?
Ella Itmar. Rather, if it was stated, Aseifa Itmar, it was stated in reference to the Mishnah's latter ruling. Hamatzil mean hagayis umin halis team. In the case of one who rescues objects from a roof or from a bandit, I'm sorry, from a troop,
A troop, yeah.
Or from a bandit, im mis yai ashu haba'alim. If the owners have despaired, yes. Sitama lo. If it's unknown, no. Let's see. If the owners have despaired, then he acquires it. If it's unknown, then he does not acquire it. Lo shanu ella oved kochavim. It's not, there's no difference except for idol worshippers. In other words, only the bandit was an idol worshiper. Mishum de Diane be Gacy, because the judges use force. Of our least team, Yisrael, but bandits who are Jewish, Kevan de Amre Meimar Miya Aish. Since they merely talk, he has despaired. The owner has despaired.
Okay, so what we're saying over here is that the Gemora said, "Ela itmar aseifa itmar." If it was said on the seifa. What's the it that the Gemora is referring to when it says, "If it was said"? It's referring to the. It's not referring to the What is it referring to? Maybe Rashi's going to tell us. No, there's no Rashi.
My English says, if it was stated by Rav Ashi that the Mishnah refers only to idolaters, it was stated in reference to the Mishnah's later ruling.
Let's keep going. Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Ifcha Mistabra. So in other words, Ravasi said, he just said, Lo Shanu, El Listim Ovid Kokavim, Aval Listim Yisrael Lo. So the Gemara originally presented, it was the Gemara. The Gemara originally presented that the words of Ravashi were referring to the case of the Reisha that says that Harei Elu it belongs to Jew number 2 because Jew number 1, we say that Jew number 1 was Miyayish. And all Ravashi just said is Lo Shanu. But we don't know what Lo Shanu was referring to. The Gemara thought it was referring to the Reisha. Now, based upon Rabbi Yosef's kasha, the Gemara says, no. We understand that the reasoning of Rabbi Yosef is correct, and therefore it must be that we have to adjust that we have the Gemora has to take a step back and say, oh, we must have been incorrect when we quoted that Rav Ashi was talking about the Resha. Really, he's talking about the Seifa. And on that he's saying Lo Shanu. What's it saying in the Seifa? It says in the Seifa that he gets it from he's masala, he saves it from the bandits. So then we say that only if he hears that the original owner was this Miyash, despaired from ever getting it, then we say it'll belong to the one that retrieved it from the bandit. But otherwise, if he doesn't know that he was Miyash, so then we say no. He's in other words, he's being required to return it. So on that, Rav Ashi said that was only said in regard to a listim who was a Oved Kochavim, because in that case we would assume that the Jew number one would not be Miyash, because he trusts in the non-Jewish court that they're going to get his stolen item out of the clutches of the non-Jewish bandit. But when it comes to a Yisrael, then that's a different story. About listing Yisrael, came into Amrei Meimar, since they just talk, so then we can assume that the Jew number one was in fact Miyash. Okay. Very good. Very good. And now we go on to Tanan Hassam. Tanan Hassam. Last word in line. Roy, we have the place. Like to read.
Tanan Hassam. We learned in a Mishnah elsewhere, Aral shall Baal Habayis, in the case of the hides of a householder, Ashaba Matam saying, thought renders them susceptible to tumor. Is that what we think is can make them tumor?
Or is Shalbalabayis Makshaba Matamasa?
Vishel but in the case of the hides of a Jana, Ein Machashava Matam thought does not render them susceptible to tumor. So Gazlan, in the case of hides of a robber, Ein Machashava Matama son, thought does not render them susceptible to tumor. Vishel Ganav, but in the case of the hides of a thief, Machshava Matama son, thought renders them susceptible to tumor. Rabbi Shimon Omer Hiluf Hadavarim. Shimon says the opposite. Shel Gazalon, in the case of hides of a robber, Machshava Matama Asan, thought renders them tumor, turning over, susceptible to tumor. I'm on page 114A4 at the top. Shel Ganav, but in the case of the hides of a thief, and Machshava Matana son, The thought does not render them susceptible to tumah. Lefei shah lis yeshu habalim, because their owner or owners, their owners did not despair of recovering them.
Okay. So we have our work cut out for us. I see we have to figure out what this has to do with our Gemora over here. It obviously has something to do with what we've been talking about. This case of Tuma, the ritual purity and impurity of the hides. So let's take a look at Rashi. Indeed, Rashi gives us a little bit of help over here. We got Rashi Machshavto Mitamason.
Machshavto bitamaso. It's thought, if you think your thought would make it tumah. Cheshiv olam, that he thought on it, to devolve the thing she'ein bo no malacha, that there's no lack of work on it. Kagon okay, now what is this? I don't know what that word otzpa is like. Isn't otzay fashioning it?
Mita is a bed. Uspa is a type of some type of furniture, I would say.
She'ein bo chesro malacha kagon. Now we're not up to the mita yet. There's no meter in this Rashi. It's la'utzpa. Kagon la'utzpa. Ulamata, and below your dough goes down. L'tumas miyad, tuma immediately. What's that? La'utzpa.
Okay, so okay, the Bach. Okay, fine. Tells us to look over in some other place. We're not going to do that now. So we're talking about at what point in the process of a carpenter's or a craftsman's crafting of a vessel does it become a finished kli? Because at that point that it becomes a finished kli, it then becomes susceptible to ritual impurity. And so here we're saying machshavto, his machshava will make it go down to ritual impurity, being susceptible to ritual impurity. Hishev alehem b'davar she'ein bo chesron malacha. He's having this thought about a certain piece of certain thing that he made, and it's not lacking any additional malacha. No additional malacha needs to be done to it in order to finish off this thing that he is making. And then Rashi says, "Kegon la'utzpa." For example, an utzpa. Ulamatu lamita yardu latuma. It now becomes. It goes down to tuma. These things go down to tuma miyad. Immediately, meaning what? Just with the machshava that he is, I think, completed. He says it doesn't need any more. What's the machshava? Oh, the machshava is the machshava of the. Whose machshava are we talking about over here? We're talking about the oros, the skins that are owned by a balabais now. and right, they're not shoes yet. It hasn't made them into a pair of shoes. But the machshava of the balabayas who owns these leather skins, he's going to use them as they are right now for an utzpah. To sit on it, to lie on it. The utzpah must be something that you can you sit or lie on, and just with that, they become, with his machshava, that's what he decides that that's what he's gonna use them for. They become susceptible to ritual impurity, to be makabel tuma right away. I guess right away means even before he actually uses it as an utzpah. So the machshava to use it as an utzpah, even without actually using it yet as an utzpah, it already becomes a finished kli to be an utzpah, and it will now be susceptible to ritual impurity. That would be if we're talking about leather skins that are owned by a balabais. But what about such skins that are owned by a abdan, a tanner? He's the one that's working with the leather hides. On him, the Mishnah says, "Ein machshava b'tamasa." His machshava, his thought in regard to this leather skin is not going to be the determining factor of it becoming susceptible to ritual impurity. And then we got a Rashi on this. We have time? We'll have 2 minutes. Okay, 2-minute warning.
Okay, well,
Al-Abdan.
Al-Abdan is the tanner. Because that's his craft. The chach in this.
Right.
It's the mechira. He does it stam because he wants to sell it. Therefore, ein machshav tov. His thought is not.
Ein machshav tov, machshava.
His thought's not considered a thought.
Right.
Oh, if he would come, b'nei adam, the people will come to him. To buy it from him, to purchase it from him. Yim kru, he'll sell it to them. But even so far, just so far in the end, menalim, that's to close the deal, so to speak.
Sofan leminalim.
Yeah.
Comes out that Sofan, their end is going to be for shoes.
They make shoes out of it.
The Dailo
and it hasn't been finished yet. No, he hasn't finished his work on it yet. Right.
In other words, that's explaining why it is that his machshava doesn't mean anything. His machshava was, oh, I'm gonna make shoes out of these things. But we see that if somebody would come along and say, look, I'll pay you for let me buy these skins off you. He'll say, sure, here, I'll sell them to you. He won't say, oh, I'm not going to sell them to you because I'm making them into shoes. This way he sells it. He doesn't have to make them into shoes, and everybody's happy. So we see that his machshava that it is not koveya. So therefore, that his machshava is not a machshava. That's what Rashi is explaining here. Okay.
Take care. Thank you.
Ashikoya. Shem Yishmor Aleichem. Ruach Batok B'Sirus Toivos. Oh, Klal Yisrael B'Ezrat Hashem.
Amen. Bye.
Bye, Roy. Bye, Bill. Bye, Alan. Bye, Lou.